We're live again.
We are live.
This month's live Patreon hangout. The topic for today's hangout is how to awesomize your life.
Yeah, awesomization is something we're particularly good at.
Yeah, we think so anyway. We know that I know that my life is awesome. I have the most awesome life I can ever imagine, and every part of it is my own creation. I've decided to have an awesome life like this, and there are certain things that I've realized over there, certain things that we've come to experience and realize in terms of how to stack the cards in favor of having an awesome life, basically. That's what we want to share with you today.
Hello to the people in the chat already. I'm Sophie and Jenny and Tim. Say hello if there's anyone else, if you want to.
Glad to have you with us, all of you.
Yeah, for sure.
Happy Sunday. Just to mention it, if you're watching this on YouTube, when we're posting it, because this is live right now for you guys, obviously. But if you're watching the recording of it that we'll post later on YouTube, know that you can join the next one in the chat live by going to patreon.com/sweetnaturalliving, and then that way you'll get access to these monthly hangouts.
Yeah.
So how is your day going? How are the people in the chat, Tim, Jenny, and Ann-Sophia? What are you doing? How's your day going? Let us know.
I had a pretty good day.
Yeah.
We're just wrapping up, or we've wrapped up today. All there is to do in our previous home, our childhood home. It's selling, and tomorrow the new people are moving in.
Yeah. So we're just there now, taking our last goodbye with the house. And before that, I was out for a run, and Mads did a workout in the gym.
Yeah.
And now I just finished a coaching session, and now we're here. So it's a busy day. Jenny says, I'm going to eat some cotton candy grapes for breakfast. Oh, yeah.
They are crazy.
Those are so good.
Yeah, we've had them on a couple of occasions. Pretty low quality, but the taste is crazy.
Yeah, it really tastes like cotton candy.
Yeah. The reason I'm sniffing and sneezing, by the way, is because grass pollen has once again reared its ugly head and
raised.
No, reared.
No, raised its ugly head.
Rearing its ugly head.
No, I'm sure, but whatever. Tell you, what do you guys think? Is it reared your ugly head or raised their ugly head?
Anyway.
Yeah, so you're allergic, basically.
Yeah, I'm allergic.
Tim says, hi guys, my day was good. I got rid of all my useless stuff. Nice. That's always a nice thing to do.
That's a very good way of awesomizing. We can get on to that later.
That is a huge way to awesomize your life. Get rid of all that excess unnecessary dead weight. Lisa Hagsten, greetings from Denmark. Hey, quick question: Did either of you suffer from an injury due to exercise? If yes, how did you overcome it?
Yes.
Yeah, I've
injuries.
I've had injury. I was just. Oh, Jenny says reared. Oh no, it is raised.
You're talking about with a fantasy fan.
Oh, whatever. Yeah, I had an running injury actually, just recently. I don't know what the diagnosis would be, but it was pain in my shins. I think the best way to overcome injuries due to exercise is to relax and be patient, because it takes time. Find something else you can do in the meantime that you can sort of focus on something else, do some other training, whatever. Make gains in another aspect of your body. And last but not least, figure out why it happened. And it's probably some kind of weakness in your muscular strength or something like that, and work on that.
Yeah, Jenny has had shin splints from dancing. We've all had injuries, small and large.
Yeah. Anyway, let's get started with the topic, which is how to awesomize your life. So I feel like just first of all, just sort of saying the overall umbrella truth
Mm-hmm.
of awesomizing your life, and that is, life is awesome. This is almost like an equation, I think. Life is awesome to the degree that you do what you want and don't do what you don't want.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because if you spend any amount of time doing stuff you don't want, that's gonna make your awesomize level go down. Your awesome level will go down when you do something you don't want. Likewise, the problem when you're doing something you don't want is not only that you're doing something that you don't like, but it's also that you're not doing what you would like.
Yeah.
Right? So it's always a twofold problem.
So I think a lot of people, almost everyone I meet, are doing both. None of the, or they're doing what they don't want and not doing what they want.
Yeah.
Because of, as a consequence of the first.
They're doing all the things they don't want to do, and almost none of the things that they do want to do. And I've been in that situation before.
Mm-hmm.
You've been in that situation. We've all been in that situations. And even now to this day, even though I'm getting better and better at it, I still find myself somewhat in that situation of doing something I don't want, because I feel like I should, or I have to, right? That's where that's really the core of it. And we'll get into that.
Yeah.
But is that true though? Is it really that simple? Is it just about doing what we want? I think so.
I would think so, yes, because every time I do something I like, I'm happy.
Yeah.
Until I get to a point where I feel the big S should.
Yeah.
That is really the one thing that kills my enthusiasm for anything.
Mm-hmm. We could even look at it in an almost spiritual way and say that when we do something that doesn't harmonize with our being, in a sense, there's resistance, and that resistance is the opposite of happiness in a way. I feel like happiness is our natural state, and we don't have to do anything to be happy. We're naturally happy as long as we're doing what just feels natural in the moment. Because when we're going with the flow, so to speak, we are our true self, and we are doing what feels natural to ourselves, and then we're happy. I mean, it's really that simple. Yeah. As soon as we start being motivated by fear, as soon as we start spending any amount of time doing something we don't want, something that sort of creates resistance, it sort of kills that vibe.
A good quote, which we've been quoting many times, is from Bashar. He's an interesting guy. You can look him up on YouTube if you're interested. He says that abundance is the ability to do what you need to do when you need to do it.
Yes. The ability to do what you need to do when you need to do it.
Explain.
Yeah, well, it's self-explanatory, really. It's just doesn't matter if you have a ton of money if you don't need it, right? So what matters is that you have money. I'm using money as the example because it's very, it's the most easily relatable. What matters is that you have the money when you need to spend it. Like, if I go to the store and I want to buy something, what matters is that I have the money right there and then. I don't really have to have twice as much money as I need, because that would make it an actual difference. So we only need abundance is the ability to do what we need to do when we need to do it. And so it doesn't really have to do with money. It has to do with, because again, we could get what we need without the use of money as well. So it depends on the situation. And another quote from Bashar, which relates to, happiness or whatever, is follow your highest excitement to the best of your ability at all times without any expectations as to what the outcome might be. And if you do that, your life will become an ecstatic explosion of bliss, according to Bashar. And indeed, It is true.
I mean, we've been in several situations where we've been forced to kind of let go of our expectations, and I just always keep thinking about Cairns in Australia, when we literally, our money was going down, 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 and we saw no way of fixing it. Um, and then we just let go, and could you explain the situation?
I'm sure where you're going, but
no, well, the point is, we've had more abundance in our time of no money. Like, we had so insane amounts of fruit, and we had a roof over our head, and we had awesome people everywhere. And this was in a time where we literally had no money, and yeah, it was looking pretty grim. But of course, the time was pretty awesome anyway.
yeah. So I guess you're sort of saying that in pursuit of doing what we want, we shouldn't worry about money, or
I don't know. I was just thinking about this time where, yeah,
that was a good time. It's I guess if I was to spin off that, I would say that it's not the problem. Well, let's take it back a little while, actually, because what's the problem? What's the inhibiting factor when it comes to doing what you want? Well, it's the fear, right? Some way or another, fear raises its ugly head. Fear, shows up in a variety of ways, and one of the most typical type of fear, and I think we can use that as an example even, is just the fear of not having enough. Typically, not enough money, right? Like people say, "Oh, I wish I could, travel the world," or "I wish I could just if money was no object." Like, if you ask someone, "What would you do? How would you spend your day if money was no object?" Well, what happens then is typically that people start thinking, okay, if money was no object, what would I like to do? Well, I'd like to be an athlete, or I'd like to be an artist, or I'd like to just travel the world. So it shows us how, when you take money out of the equation, suddenly people would do so many things that they're not doing right now. Why aren't they doing it right now? Well, because they're scared. Yeah. They're worried of, I won't have enough money if I do this, or what if I quit my job? I'm gonna not have enough money, or whatever. And I guess our experience as thus far has showed us that actually it's okay not to have enough money. Like, even if you have no money, you will still have everything you need. Yeah. That's what we experienced. And even so, there's no reason why you wouldn't have enough money. In fact, when you're happy about what you're doing, you're going to get more abundance on all levels, including money, usually. Like, most people, business people, would probably agree that if you're not excited about your business, it's not going to go anywhere. Yeah. But if you're excited, if you love what you do, you're bound to be successful. Excitement breeds more success, and success can be measured in monetary terms. It can be measured in so many other ways, but the gold standard of success is happiness. Yeah. Are you happy right now? So I would rather be broke and live on the street, but do something I want, do something I love, than actually work some job that I hate just in order to have enough money to live a life I'm not excited about. You know what I mean? Yeah. Just want to look at the chat there. Jenny says, "I found that letting go of negativity has helped so much. People at work can really get really stuck on things going on, but I just let it bounce off me." Yeah, that's really, really true. And Anna Sophia seems to agree. Let it bounce off you. That's what you got to do. Like, because other people's fear, they'll try and put their fear onto you. Not consciously. Well, sometimes consciously as well, but
and physically speaking, there's the stress that's caused by their fear will kind of leak onto you.
Yeah. So there's the only way for you to actually pull off a true awesomization process is to kind of create a little bubble. You have to live in your own little universe, and people are going to say, oh, you're crazy just living in your own world. And you have to be like, yeah, that's exactly right. I am in my own little world, and it's awesome.
Yeah, and they might hate you for it because, as we know, when people are
doing things they don't want.
No, I was thinking, our mother always said that when people tease you and stuff, they're just
jealous.
Jealous, yeah. I think that's true for this as well. When people see you just being happy and doing what you want and having an awesome time, they're gonna be like, oh fuck, why are you so happy? Why can't I just have to go to work and
Exactly, that's so true. And they're also going to be hating in the sense that they're probably skeptical about how you're able to pull that off, and they're trying to find reasons for, but you can do that because, and some kind of excuse. Whereas, and that might be true even, yeah, you do this because you made it like this or whatever, like, but that's part of if you're living consciously and you're making conscious choices in your life in order to make your life awesome, it is true that your life is good because of this and because of that, and you cultivated those things. So we need to own it in that sense.
Yeah.
Jenny, and people don't even get to enjoy their lives because they're too busy making money. Exactly. Like, what is it like? Some people, they really love and excite the process of making money. It excites them, and that's cool. Business people, but most people, I agree, they're just busy making money so that they can live a life full of fear and anxiety and not spending any time doing what they want.
Money is awesome to make if you're excited about making money.
Yeah.
But not awesome to make if you're afraid of not having it.
Exactly.
So it all comes down to being afraid of something or being excited about something, and that makes all the difference in the world.
Yeah.
Two people can do the exact same thing. One can hate it and one can love it. All depending on what they're excited about, and we're all different in that way.
And the lover is going to end up being a million times more successful, both in monetary terms, and every other way. And the main thing here is that even if they didn't become more successful in monetary terms, they love what they're doing right now.
Yeah.
And isn't that what it's all about? Isn't it, like, for me, happiness, success, it's all about waking up in the morning and being excited about everything I'm going to do today. Not having any kind of fear or like I should do this, but actually just like, no, hell no. I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that and I don't care. That's how I'm going to do it. That's success. So if you're able to do that, then you don't need money to be able to do that. You need to shift your mindset. It's a mindset thing. It's not a money thing.
So Lisa is saying, your thoughts on school and education in terms of happiness. What if you're not happy in school or education? Shouldn't we have to have some sort of basic knowledge in order to understand living? That's an interesting question.
Good question.
I mean, we're in such a strange society. And I know for sure that I've been, as many people have been hating school at times, but also loving it. I mean, I've had a period where I was really interested in going to the university, and I loved it. Until one day I found out that I didn't like it anymore. That was the day I quit without finishing my bachelor.
Yeah. I think it's a very interesting question, but I tend to just look at it as a kind of, in this way. When we're doing what we love, everything else works out. Like, it might sound like naive almost, or and you might say that, but I feel like it's actually true. Like, because there's a whole, there's the earth, the animals, the ecosystems, the universe, spiritually, physically, mentally, emotionally. There's this oneness that penetrates everything. and everything has its order. And I feel like if we are actually, when we pursue what we want, when we do our own thing, when we are ourselves completely, things fall into place. Well, that's very wishy-washy, I know, but I don't know. That's sort of, so I feel like, no, I feel like if we don't want to go to school, we shouldn't go to school. If we are happy and excited about going to school, then we should go to school. But I think a lot of the problem here is that the school system is built on a foundation based around shoulding. Like it's all shoulding, should. We should learn this, we should learn that. Well, we could have a completely opposite system where we allow each individual to blossom, if so to speak, the way they're supposed to blossom, and find interests and excitements where they're excited, and then cultivate those further. So right now, it's us, the humans, being fit into the school system. Like this, it's almost like we are serving the system rather than the system serving us. The other way around would be that the school system constantly yields and adjusts to the needs of the. But this is complex stuff. I don't know, like in more simple practical terms though, I feel like school and education is valuable. It just depends on how it's done. And I do think if we don't want to study something, let's say we're at the university level, we're done with elementary school, and it's more of kind of adult choice. Do I want to go to school or not? If we're not excited about it, we're living in a world now where we can acquire the knowledge that we need, especially now with the internet and stuff, without going to school. I think if we're excited about it, the main thing again, why do we need more knowledge? Like in the real like in the most basic sense, why do we need to learn more? Why are the sheep that are, sheep are really not that intelligent, at least not as intelligent as us. Are they less happy than us? I don't think so. I think happiness, again, is just being yourself, not resisting anything, and actually just living life. So whether or not more knowledge would make us more happy, I don't know. So maybe school isn't really all that valuable in a happiness sense.
I think school and education is just a natural part of human society because it brings us forward in some ways, like it creates more money or whatever. But it doesn't, as you say, it makes us more sophisticated maybe, but not necessarily more happy.
Yeah. Lisa says she would love to join that school.
Yeah,
I would too. And you know what? We are joining that school. We have joined that school because that school, it's almost sounding poetic now. I feel like almost like a cliche. That school is us. It's the world, and we're creating it right now by doing what we love. So,
practically speaking, let's move on to the practical side of things.
Yeah.
There are several things that we've been doing over the last few years that is all about awesomizing. And I think one of the biggest ones is actually one Tim mentioned at the beginning, selling all your stuff.
Yes.
Because I think we are really bogged down as a society by all the things we have. I mean, we've really come to learn that after moving all the stuff from our parents' house.
Yeah.
So many things that we do not need.
Yeah. It takes up, not only does it take up space and clutter our mind and all that stuff, but it also, there's an attachment. It has to do with attachment, our attachment to the stuff, and whether or not we are serving the stuff rather than the stuff serving us.
Yeah.
Minimalism in a nutshell to me is all about needing having exactly what you need. It's not about deprivation. It's not about not having this. This is the microphone that we bought from the money we've got from the patrons, from you guys. It's not about not having a microphone. We want a microphone. We need a microphone to use to do this.
Yeah.
So we should have a microphone. But we need that microphone. We actually need it on a regular basis. So there's no wasted energy, so to speak. And that's what it's all about. So getting rid of all that old stuff that you really don't need anymore, get it back into circulation or throw it away or whatever you do. And and clean up your life.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one step.
Yeah. The second step, which naturally comes after this, is something I think like pretty much every person on earth should do this, and that is to travel. We have learned insane amounts about ourselves and the world from traveling. Like if I meet the person that's kind of depressed and not having a great time, my first advice to them would actually be just go traveling. Just rip yourself away from your
surroundings, circumstances,
routines, and go traveling, because it's going to force you into situations where you are you need to adapt, and this adaptation will put you into new patterns that you might find to enjoy a lot.
Yeah, that's so true. It's almost like a cleansing process from your routine.
Mm-hmm.
Getting perspective on things, literally changing your perspective.
Because there's a part of our mind that is that will always say that routines will make us happy, or they'll keep us safe. Like doing what you're doing, it's working. You're getting food, you're etc. And your mind is one part of your mind is telling you that
preserve this,
this because it works.
We want to preserve what's already working. It's sort of fear of the unknown, and this is a natural thing. Yeah. And it's actually it's not that we need to always challenge the status quo and constantly, throw it out. But if we are in a situation where we do feel stuck, or like, my life isn't awesome, we can start taking those steps that we're going through now. First step, eliminating stuff you don't need, minimizing your life so you actually get a relationship to your things and your surroundings. Second step, travel, just to clear your mind. Good, because once you're out traveling, that's where you can contemplate how you want to design your life in a better setting.
Mm-hmm.
And Jenny says nothing makes you realize how much stuff you own, like moving does. Yeah, we know. And Tim says routine is important, but it gets boring. We're curious beings as well. Yeah, definitely. I think every now and then it's good to just, like on a regular basis, we need to have almost a routine about getting out of our routine.
Yeah.
Like
periodization.
Periodization.
I'm really into weightlifting at the moment, as you might know, and the exercises that I'm most excited about are usually the ones I've been doing for the least amount of time. I've been doing the lat pull down since I began, and I've come to really be just like, it's just another exercise. But a row that I've recently implemented is super awesome, and it was just I've just done it like 3 times.
You're doing something fresh.
Yeah,
you're changing your routine, and the idea with periodization also in terms of like having one day a week where you do something, like a Sunday kind of thing, like a rest day, one day a week where you do something different than your normal routine. Maybe one weekend per month where you do an adventure.
Yeah.
And 1 month out of every year, maybe, where you actually go traveling somewhere, or 2 months or 3 months, especially, since we're talking about health and the fruit diet as well. Go traveling in the winter. Take a month or 2 or 3 in the winter. That creates a freshness for the rest of the year. And so that's a good idea. I think the third step in your revamping your life into making it more awesome would be the health aspect of it.
Yeah.
Because you've eliminated stuff you don't need. Step 1, you've sort of cleaned up your life, and you have a more minimalistic kind of relationship with your things, and you've gone traveling. And while you're out there traveling, contemplating your new awesome life, you want to sort of also consider the fact that if you're unhealthy, I mean,
it's going to be more difficult. If I may.
Yeah.
It's like a monk. A monk goes into solitude. Because all the distractions from the world will inhibit their spiritual development.
Yeah, good meditation.
Yeah, and I think this is the same for life. If you have a sick body, it's going to inhibit your ease of being really happy.
Yeah, it's like in the deepest, most absolute sense, you can be happy regardless of circumstances.
Yeah.
Even if you're dying and you're sick and your body aches, Happiness again is not resisting that. Like true happiness is when you don't resist anything, which again is the same as enlightenment. Indeed, I mean enlightenment, happiness, it's the same thing in my opinion. Love, God, it's being one with everything, being one with yourself and your body, and not resisting it, which means again that if there's pain in the body, it's really when you resist that pain that you create tension and suffering, because suffering and pain is not synonymous. No. You can be depressed but happy at the same time, I think. As long, depression is a sort of chemical, emotional thing in the body. Sickness is something in the body, and it's possible to have that pain but still not suffer in the deep sense of the word. But okay, this is what we said, but it's going to make it a hell of a lot easier to sort of go with the flow of things, and just on a higher level, or sort of more superficial level, I guess. Just being healthy allows you to pursue your goals with a clearer mind, and a fresh, energy. Mm-hmm. So we talk a lot about health on this channel, so there's no need to go in depth about that. But let's just say, gotta get enough sleep.
Yeah, crucial.
If you're not having enough sleep, I know when I don't get enough sleep, and when I say enough, I just mean as much as you need. If you need 9 hours, 10 hours, 11 hours, 12 hours, get it. When you get enough sleep, everything else feels better.
Yeah, consistent over the course of several
days, weeks, and months.
Yeah.
So getting that sleep, eating enough carbohydrate.
Yeah, or even just thinking of eating enough food in total. Because when you're under eating, which I've done on several occasions, and you as well, you get angry. I mean, there's a reason people say hangry, because you're hungry, angry. There's nothing that makes you just feel crap and annoyed and tired as eating too little.
Yeah,
like dieting, people lose.
And the same goes for carbohydrates, in the sense that if you are eating enough calories, but you're not, most of them are coming from fat, then your body actually doesn't really work that well, and especially moods tend to be low on low carb diets. So low carb diets, that don't work in the best way if you want to have a vigor and excitement for life and good concentration and all that. So get enough carbohydrates, get enough sleep, basically eat enough fruit. That's what it's all about mainly.
And remember also that if you're not, you don't necessarily have to be enthusiastic, know the word, for living healthfully. I mean, you guys are probably living pretty healthfully already, but my point is that you should just do it. Sleep enough, eat enough, etc. And as a consequence, you will start feeling good, and that will motivate you to continue doing what you're doing.
It's called a positive feedback loop, when what you're doing feeds back into more of what you're already doing.
Yeah.
So just do it. Just get that sleep and eat that fruit and get those carbohydrates in and stay hydrated and get some exercise and get some sunshine. Just do it. Because these are, if you don't do it, if you're not getting sleep, if you're not getting sunshine, then there's just no way to feel inspired about doing it at all. Like you got to get those in. And Tim says, so true. If you undereat, you're only thinking about food every time. Same with sleep.
Yeah.
That's true. So getting those basics, those fundamental basics in place is hugely important. And I personally, I have to say, after we both started eating a raw vegan diet, eating a lot of fruit, my life has changed massively. Not only because of the fruit diet, but that has been a big part of it, though.
Yeah.
Like just feeling healthy for the first time in my life, really consistently, and taking care of my body has just given me all this energy. Yeah. Now I can do things with so much power, and not only physically but mentally as well. And I feel more sort of sure about what I'm doing. Anna Sophia says, a few years ago, I had a period where I underate and I couldn't concentrate at school. I almost failed all subjects because of it. A few subjects because of it. Yeah. It's like if you want to wreck your mental performance and physical performance, undereat. It's like the best way to just sort of fail hard on every aspect of life.
And remember also that it's not just about undereating over the course of a week or month. It might be, I know a lot of people, a lot of fruitarians especially, might eat a really low quality breakfast. Like they might have watermelon and it might not be sweet. And for those few first hours of the day, you're basically losing weight because you're not getting what you need there.
The weight isn't that important, but you're not getting the fuel to your brain. You're not getting the glycogen. I mean, you're not getting the fuel you need basically for those hours.
Yeah.
We've noticed
make you feel terrible and perform badly.
We've said for several years, we've noticed this effect that we call the banana effect, and that is that, whenever we ate bananas for breakfast, it was counterintuitive at some point, because we always felt like we wanted something juicy for breakfast, like papaya or mangoes or watermelon. But we just noticed that when we had bananas for breakfast, though, we had that power and focus that we didn't get otherwise.
Yeah.
And that is just because you're getting that dense calorie carb hit in the morning, and it just sets you up for a powerful day.
Jenny Marie says that sunshine feels so good, and Ann-Sophie talks about how there's no sun in Norway during almost all winter.
Yes, sun is so good. It's so nourishing.
Yeah.
So nourishing. But yeah, Ann-Sophie, as you know, it's not easy here in Norway, although last few days have been really nice. I think even in the winter, though, going out in the middle of the day and just getting as much daylight as possible makes a big difference. And then having a break, going for a winter holiday, so to speak, somewhere warm and tropical, ideally, it's a good way to also do it. And supplementing with vitamin D, I think I would recommend that.
Yeah.
Jenny says, I really miss snow. Yeah, snow is fun, but yeah. Lisa, any thoughts on of really good foods in Scandinavia that aren't transported from the other side of the world for optimal health? Well, we are transported from the other side of the world. We are tropical beings. So because we come from so far away, our optimal food also comes from so far away. So there's no way to find food in Norway that's optimal for us. The best thing to eat is bananas, I think. They're, that overall the best. But in Norway, just because it's imported and there's a lot of it and it's cheap and it's sustainable.
But of course, there are anything that's fresh and in season and as close to tropical as possible. I mean, people plant melons in Norway. People plant grapes.
But I think the closest thing, though, like if you were in Norway or Scandinavia in general, and there was no importing of food, and you had to live, like, let's say 200 years ago, you had to live on what was growing there. I would live on potatoes, vegetables, pumpkins. Yeah, all those starchy foods, basically, and some of them are even quite sweet. Ann-Sophie, I love the sun so much. She's talking to Jenny. Tim says bananas make your life awesome. They do indeed.
Should even be like the fourth step.
Yeah,
bananas.
Eat bananas.
What will be the fifth step, though? Is there anything?
Yeah, no, go ahead.
No, I was just going to ask you basically is there any other part of this that we haven't touched?
Yeah, you eliminated stuff you don't need. You've gone traveling to change your perspective and get an idea of things. You started implementing routines for better health. I think the next step is probably the most important, and it is, well, no, let's take one more step before that. Eliminate toxic people from your life.
Yeah.
And this is not like get them out of your life. It's not that kind of thing. It's more just like, or it could be that kind of thing, but it's mostly just realize that, just like with things, some people drain your energy more. They drain your energy more than they supply you with energy.
You might be attached to the thought of, but they're my friend. I have to.
Or they're my wife. They're my husband. But they're actually not. beneficial to you right now. And it's not, it's you could say it is an egoistic statement, and it is, but I mean,
they might suffer from the same relationship with you.
Yeah. Anytime you're in a situation where there'll be things or people or places where you're stuck, where you're kind of like doing it just because you feel like you should or you have to, and you feel excitement of the thought of not being in that relationship, for example, but you can't dare to even think about it because there's so much stuckness in that situation, you just got to pull yourself out. Like, you just got to do it. And that's where traveling comes in again. Go on a trip alone. Just go contemplate it alone. Because you got to pull yourself out of those relationships that do not serve you. And then the last step, which was what I was going to say, is the most powerful one. And it's where you actually have to really go and actually do it. And this is actually doing it. I mean, you have to quit the job. If it's not the job you want, you have to quit it. You have to start looking for that other job that you really want, or you have to start creating that business that you really want. You know, you might feel like, oh my God, I can't do it, but you have to do it. Whether it be a business idea or whether it not be a business idea at all, maybe whether it be travel, whatever it is that you're excited about, you got to start taking action on it. And the fear will come up, and this is how it works. The fear comes up in the mind. What if, or this or that. You just have to ignore it. There's no rational way of dealing with fear, because when you feel that resistance coming up, it's actually bullshit. It's just an idea of about the future based on something you've experienced in the past, or based on something you think is true. You know, that we should all do it like this, or there's a norm in society that says this is how we do it, or this is how you should do it, or if you don't do it like this, you're not a good person. Who cares? You define for yourself what a good person is. You make your own definitions. You define your own life. So that the last step is just quitting that job, as an example, taking action towards your passion, and essentially designing your life. And this is an ongoing process of designing your life just the way you want it. When you feel like, you know what, I do this on a regular basis, but I don't like it, stop doing it. Just stop doing it. And I'm telling you again, you're going to get these thoughts that are like, oh, but I have to do this, because if I don't, then, or something like that. Well, if you listen to those thoughts, you'll never be able to get out of it, because you'll constantly have those thoughts. We still have those thoughts all the time. Yeah. Thoughts come up and they say, you know, but you really should do this, or what if we do this, or if I stop doing this, we won't have enough money to pay rent, or my God, what's going to happen? Ignoring it.
It always sorts itself out.
Yeah, it just always sorts itself out. And when it doesn't sort itself out, that's also fine. It doesn't have to sort itself out even at the core level. Why does it have to sort itself out? Why can't everything go to hell? Doesn't matter if everything goes to hell if you're constantly doing what you want, because that's the only thing that matters. That's what's going to give you actual happiness. Mm-hmm. But that being said, again, when you're doing something you're passionate about, you are naturally going to attract more of everything you are passionate about. And if one of those things are sufficiency and abundance and enough money and that sort of thing, that's just going to come to you through your actions, because you're acting out of that place of excitement. Mm-hmm. There's some comments here. Anne-Sophia says, I both love and hate toxic relationship, the subject. I know who in my life is toxic. I just don't have the guts to get rid of them. Well, you know, I know what you mean. It can be difficult, but remember, you don't have to get rid of them per se. You just have to stop feeding into that relationship. Mm-hmm. You know, like, well, sometimes you do have to get rid of them to actually say, you know what, this is not really cool anymore or whatever. But most of the time, it's just about shifting your focus rather than constantly focusing on that person in a negative way or positive way. You just shift your focus towards the people that you are excited about. And it's just naturally, when you shift your focus, whatever is out of your focus just tends to wither away. It just tends to fall away naturally. Yeah. You don't have to push it out of your life. Most of the time, you don't have to push things out of your life. You just have to shift your focus towards the things that you do want. I think this goes for everything. You don't have to necessarily push things away from your life, because that's almost like a fearful act, like, oh, get it away from me, get it away from me. Well, in reality, all you have to do is just turn around and focus on that instead.
Tim says that I recently made the choice to pursue what I really love, and I'm super excited about it. I don't think about the future at all. Now is what matters.
That's cool.
Perfect.
Glad to hear that, Tim. That is awesome. Yeah.
That is what I want every person on earth to say, because it's the epitome of awesomeness.
It is awesome, in my opinion. It's just, it's an awesome life is a life where you're doing what you want, you're pursuing it, you love it, you're excited about it. I mean, I'm so excited about all the stuff I do that I almost have to restrain myself a little bit when I'm talking to people, because they don't even know half of how excited I am about stuff. Like, and it's just bursting out of me, I'm just like exploding with excitement. And why is that? Well, it's because I constantly cultivate that excitement. I constantly choose to say, oh, I should really do this today, but you know what? No, I'm going to do this instead because it's so cool. Even if it doesn't look like it's going to serve me, it serves me there directly just by being exciting. Lisa says, what if you are not sure about what you're passionate about other than eating? Anna says, then all you do is eat. Well, yeah. And well, yeah, that's kind of true. Like, you don't, I think this is a good way to just wrap it up today. In the process of finding your passion and excitement and dream and making your dream life come true, we tend to fall into this idea that it has to be so grand and it's so big and it has to be some kind of project, right? Like, it has to be a business or has to be a project, but it doesn't have to be a project. The birds, they don't necessarily have project. Well, they do, they sort of build nests and stuff, small projects, and who knows what's going on in their minds. But let's use it as an example still. They don't have big projects. They just go from moment to moment, day to day, minute to minute, and they're happy. I think so. I guess my point is, you don't have to figure out your passion. And also, let me just say first, you don't have to, don't forget it. You don't have to figure out your passion, so to speak. You don't have to define it as, this is what I do, or this is my passion. And it can change from moment to moment. It can change from day to day. So I'll just say, ask yourself in the moment, all the time, what do I want to do right now? Like, what's exciting to me right now? You don't even have to ask yourself, because if you let go of the fear and doing stuff that you feel like you should, then you'll naturally just find yourself pursuing something that you are excited about, And it might be as simple as nothing special, just life, just like, I want to buy food, I want to eat, I want to go for a walk, I want to meet a friend, I want to paint the wall. I mean, life is exciting in itself. We don't have to have grand plans, I think.
I was just going to say that you can also, of course, cultivate a trying out of different things. You can exercise. You can try out 20 different sports, and suddenly you'll find that, like, oh my god, this is actually super awesome, and you might get passionate about that.
That's so true.
And not just sports, but everything. Just do as much things as you want. Cultivate randomness.
Definitely. That's a really good point. And as Anne-Sophia says, be passionate about being happy. Yeah, just like wake up in the morning and tell yourself that being happy is what it's all about. And I want to be happy today, so I'm going to do what makes me happy. And then you just do that.
Yeah.
And if you cultivate that curiosity of trying different things as well, you might find that you find some kind of project that you want to do as well, and it can come now, it can come later. You can start a project and then you start hating it after a few months or a few years, and then you stop that project. We don't have to finish everything we start. That's a typical idea that I find very nonsensical. We don't have to finish anything. We just have to do what's exciting in the moment. When we stop being excited about it, we stop doing it. That's fine. Dabbling in new things. Yes. Teddy.
We all seem like a happy bunch.
We are a happy bunch.
Yeah.
Reading fantasy.
Yeah, it's a good way to do it.
Okay, that's it for today. That was a good session. I loved it.
Yeah, very good. Good to have you guys with us as always, and know that we'll be back next month. We are going on a vacation in 2 days to our cottage, but don't worry, there will be videos because we're scheduling things.
Yeah, we always schedule ahead of time. Thanks a lot for your support here on Patreon, guys.
Makes all the difference.
Makes all the difference. Thanks for being in the chat, and for all you guys on Patreon that watching the recording of this, thank you as well for just being part of the Patreon network community.
Yeah.
And eventually, when this goes on YouTube, thanks for everyone there on YouTube as well, watching it and being part of the whole thing. And if you want to join the next one, you can go on patreon.com to join the chat there. Yeah. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks.
Have a good evening and day, morning, night, whatever time it is at your place.
Yeah.
Here, it's dinner time.
It is.
Sweet potato time.
Yes. All right.
Yes.
Goodbye.
Bye.
See you around.